Why do I sell cheap clothing? It just doesn't make sense. It's not time efficient and it's a lot of work for small reward. I sell garbage. I should sell better items. This is what I read in comments over and over and over again. So let's talk about it. Hello and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Polish Pete, eBay reseller based in UK. I buy cheap ladies clothing in bulk and I sell them individually on eBay for profit. Today I would like to tell you why I sell cheap ladies clothing. What's my business model? What are the advantages and disadvantages of it? But before we start, if you are interested in reselling on eBay, please consider subscribing to the channel. And rant alert. Yes? So guys, I'm sick and tired of answering all those comments saying you should get better stock, your stock is crap, what's the point of selling such a cheap stock, and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I hope that after recording this video I will just be able to copy and paste the link to it instead of answering those comments over and over and over again. So let's start. First thing we need to say is that there is no such thing as one and the only proper good business model. Selling on eBay doesn't mean that you have to do it this way or no way. What is the point of telling somebody that you sell shit? Like I was deliberately sourcing the worst stock that I'm able to source. Nobody does it. Nobody sources worse stock when he or she can source better stock. Literally, whatever shop you cherry pick on eBay and you check their stock, that is the best stock that they can get. Literally. Who would be stupid enough to deliberately pass on better stock and stick to the worst one? I mean, really? Come on. There are many factors that determine what can you sell, because things that you can sell are things that you can source. If you can't source something, then you can't sell it, because you don't have it. It's bloody obvious. The part of the country you live in, your life circumstances, and stuff like that highly determine what can you sell. Also, your knowledge plays important role. However, I believe you can learn almost anything you want if you know where to look for the information. But I'm not going to lie. I've got lack of knowledge in terms of most eBay categories. I just don't know enough about stuff to be able to sell it. So when I decided to start selling on eBay as a way of supplementing our household income back in the days, I had to decide what would I like to sell and what is available for me to buy to sell. My first son has not been born yet at that time. It must have been like 2011, maybe 2012, when I have decided that I'm going the eBay route. I've decided to close my previous business venture and sell all the equipment, but there was no money left out of that because it all went into refurbishing the house that we have just bought, as it was a ruin basically. So I needed something that I can buy dirt cheap. Also, we are Catholics, me and my wife, and we go to church every Sunday in the morning, because in UK there is just a morning mass in most of the churches. There is no evening mass, for example. So it was kind of limiting factor in terms of going to car boot sales, because they are held mostly on the Sunday mornings. Also, I didn't like the idea of running around the field without any guarantee that I'm going to find anything. And I didn't like the fact that in winter there is no car boot sales, so your sourcing is very limited. So I was kind of looking for stock that I can buy all year round, preferably with the delivery to my house. So I started to look at charity shops as well, and that was disaster. I live in the northwest of England, not really an affluent part of the country. There is not enough rich people for the charity shops to have a regular supply of high-end brands or even middle-end brands. This led to the situation where any regular run-of-the-mill brand is priced the way that there is not enough money for the reseller, yeah? And those better brands, they are just not there at all. Next problem that I had to consider was the fact that I was born behind Iron Curtain. I knew nothing about video games, as I never had a video game console. Yeah, believe it or not, I was well over 18 years old when I saw the PlayStation for the first time in my life. And since then, I've seen a game console live in person maybe 3 times in my life. So how can I know anything about video games when I never played them? And same with toys. I literally know shit all about those figurines, action figures, and those most popular toys in 80s and 90s, because we didn't have them in Poland. We had Russian soldiers and tanks to play with, yeah? And all we had in the TV were Soviet, Hungarian, and Czechoslovakian cartoons, yeah? I have never owned a set of Lego bricks in my life, if you can believe it. Yeah, if you can believe in that. I have never had a set of Lego. Then I went to eBay, and I have noticed that I can buy job lots of things on eBay. And the ladies' clothing at that moment of time, back in 2011, 2012, was fairly cheap, in abundance, and I could have them delivered to my house. And this is why I decided to go into cheap ladies' clothing. I could easily learn about them. My wife was always there, able to give me a hand with some keywords and stuff like that. And I've learned a lot when I was comping them, right when I started to list them. There was a ton of resource online, like on Pinterest, for example. And most importantly, there was plenty of stock to buy on eBay itself in job lots and bundles. And then I have discovered Gumtree and Facebook groups, and there was even more opportunities to buy a lot of stock super cheap. In fact, I was able, on multiple occasions, I was able to get lots of like 5-6 beanbags of ladies' clothing for free. For free. It's impossible now, but back in 2012, 13, 14, it was all over the place. All over the place. On the top of the easement of buying, clothing is also easy to photograph, easy to list, easy to store, and easy to dispatch. It is fairly uniform. Your parcel looks the same every time, which is also very important. But what's more important is that I was able to use credit card to buy stock on eBay. I had a zero interest credit card and it was for 34 months or something like that. It was not full 36, but it was close. This way, I knew that I can buy a lot of stock on that credit card, list it, and I have a lot of time to sell it before I have to repay that money. I was only paying minimum, which was, I think, 25 quid a month, if I'm not mistaken. Now, when you think about it, ladies always buy clothing. And there is way much more buyers on eBay who would rather describe themselves as people looking for cheap stuff than there is those who look for expensive luxury items. If they work in low-paid jobs, they will be looking for tops that are under tenner, not tops that are 45 quid. And that was another factor why I've decided to go into cheap ladies clothing, because there is a lot of potential buyers. Now, I knew that it wasn't easy market, and it's not easy market now as well. It's even worse now. It's even harder now. Competition is fierce, and really you have to know what you're doing. Also, you need some storage space to store 2,000, 3,000 items. But for me, it wasn't a problem. I had substantial storage space that I didn't have to pay for. And I knew I will manage with competition purely because I was selling on the Polish equivalent of eBay back in early 2000. Yeah, and I was selling online back in like 1998, 1999. So I can't remember exactly, to be honest. So I had experience of selling online, and I knew that I'm going to manage with the competition. Now, some may say that it takes ages to sell this kind of stock, because it's dirt cheap and there is no point to put the work for small reward. Like I've mentioned on my channel many times, my average selling price is between 11 and 12 pounds. And after eBay fees, postage, shop subscription, cost of goods, and all the other costs involved, I make about a £5 of profit per item on average, and this stock sells fairly quick. Now have a look at this table here. Let me make some space. Have a look at this table here. Yeah, it must be said that it is a snapshot in time. It changes every day because you sell something, you list something, you enter similar and stuff like that. But it says more, it stays more or less the same. Yeah, some wiggle up and down in some certain categories, but it stays more or less like that. Yeah, it was checked in August before I have moved my items from the second shop back to main shop, but this is how it looked like in August. Now it maybe look a bit worse because all of that crappy stock from the second shop. Now, so this table shows how old my stock is. Yeah, it all adds up to 99% due to rounding up numbers to the closest full percentage point. But if you have a closer look, you will notice that over 80% of items that I've got listed are items that are maximum 9 months old. So basically, it's safe to say that the vast majority of stock that I source sells within 9 months. To give you a perspective, let's say I buy 500 kg of stock. That would be about 2,000 items. I photograph them straight, all of them in 1 month, and then I start to list them on eBay, on a very part-time basis. By the time I list them all, which is usually about 3 months, like I've said, on very part-time basis, while being a full-time carer, by the time I list them all, I have already broken even, I get my money back. And I've got at least 1,500 items left to be sold. And that's all gravy after postage and fees. If I sell them for 7-8 quid plus postage, then I walk away with 10 to 12,000 pounds of profit. For 1 month of photographing and 3 months of part-time listing. If you look at this table once again, you will notice that 88% of these items will sell before a year has passed, because only 12% of my stock is older than 1 year. Numbers don't lie. 6 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 equals 12. 100 minus 12, 88. So I can get rid of 9 out of 10 items that I buy within 1 year, despite those items not being a high sell-through ratio items. These are common items that eBay is flooded with. If you comp my items, not a single one of them will have like 90 days sell-through ratio higher than 40-50%. Nowadays, when I'm a full-time carer, it's even harder for me to source anything else than run-of-the-mill items, run-of-the-mill ladies' clothing, because I'm home like 3 times a year if I'm lucky. In fact, so far in 2024, I was home only once in April, May, and that's it. And we are in November now. So before you bash my stock, just ask yourself, what would you do if you only had 4 weeks in a year to source and photograph all your eBay stock to keep you going and pay your bills for entire year? What would you do? I will send you a whole box of whiskey if you can show me a car boot sale or charity shop where you can go and pick 2,500 items that will make you a £5 profit each. And it will only take you half a day to pick that amount of stock, because that's what I do. I go to my supplier twice in 1 day. So there, back, Each run is 1 hour, plus loading and unloading. It can be done within 6 hours. It can be done with 6 hours. After 6 hours, I come back home with 2,500 items. So guys, if you want to start eBay business, but you don't know what you can sell, you have to look around yourself. And please don't fall into the trap of selling what you know best or what you like best. You know, standard advice from all those eBay gurus. Jesus Christ, it's so stupid. How can you sell what you like or what you know when there is no chance of sourcing it cheap in the part of the country where you live, or there is no market for it on eBay? It just doesn't sell on eBay at all. It boils my piss. All those gurus repeat one after another the same shit over and over and over again for last 10 years. And nothing comes out of it. You watch 100 videos and you still don't know what to source and where. You go to your local car boot sale, to your local charity shops, and stock is not there. And prices are literally eBay prices. And you've wasted half a day coming back home with dozen items that will give you £100 profit. Find something you can get cheap in large quantities on a regular basis. Then check if you can make money out of it. You know if there is a market for it on eBay and if it sells on eBay on a regular basis. And start from there. Don't concentrate on what other people are telling you. You should sell this, you should sell that, don't sell this, don't sell that. F them. They have no clue about your circumstances, your abilities to source, and your knowledge. Remember this. If it sells on eBay in quantity and on a regular basis, it's a good stock. No matter what it is, no matter what other people tell you about this stock. If items that you can source on cheap are selling on eBay literally every single hour of the day, then what's the problem? Who cares about high sell-through ratio? If you are good enough and you can do good enough job, you will be selling, others will be waiting to get a sale. And it doesn't matter what 90-day sell-through ratio it is. Obviously, the higher it is, the easier it will be to sell. But high sell-through ratio doesn't guarantee you a sale. Only your skills and your ability to sell on eBay guarantee you sales. But if you're looking for supplier, don't look for suppliers that are ready available online. Everybody knows them, so they won't be cheap. When people ask me what I do for a living, I like to say them that I work for an intelligence agency. You know, like CIA. Yeah? They ask, how come? Or MI6 or whatever. So they say, how come? What do you do? And then I answer them, well, I just walk around, have a look here, have a look there, you know, talk to people, ask some questions. That's what I do. That's what I do for a living. That's how I find my suppliers. Or I try to find them on eBay. Then I check where they are and I go to them. I don't buy them on eBay. I go to them and have a chat. And in most cases, I'm able to get my stock for half of the price that they are asking on eBay. Because I go there and I say, hi, I want to buy half a ton outside of eBay without fees. What's your best price? And if this stock is good, I will be back in 3 months' time to buy another half a ton. And that's how I get prices like, you know, that work out like £1 per item. These are my views about it. This is what I do. And this is why I have gone into cheap ladies clothing. Please, if you wish to tell somebody you sell shitty stock, before you do it, go on eBay and check if that stock actually sells. Because if it does, it's not shitty. Then before you say to somebody, you should sell this, you should sell that, just think for a moment and maybe instead ask, are you able to source this and that because it sells on eBay well? A tiny difference in wording, but this way you will avoid upsetting those people. Yeah? I don't hate people in general, but I can't stand people who think that everybody must be like them. And everybody is in the same circumstances, and everybody should do what they do because it's their way or no way. If we were all selling the same shit on eBay, we would all go bankrupt because we would be competition one to another. I don't like to brag, guys. I hate to brag, but I came to UK with nothing. I had £600 in my pocket when I landed in Liverpool in 2007. I was 30 years old, £600 in my pocket and one suitcase. And I was lucky because my wife, who I've met in UK, by the way, yeah, when she came to UK about 18 months before me, yeah, she had 30 quid in her pocket. 30 bloody quid. You are in another country, you have no place to live, you have no job, you have £30 in your pocket and one suitcase full of stuff. We had nothing, guys. We both had to buy everything. Bed, iron, fork, plate, clothing, laptop, a car. We had nothing of that. We all had to do it. Every single one of us. Immigrants. That was 2007. Today, my older son is 9 years old. My younger son is 7 years old. We live in our own house. We've got like 4 years of mortgage to pay, yeah, before we pay it off. 4 years. We've got everything that we need. And for last 5.5 years, since May 2019, I was able to give care to a person who would literally die, without my help. And my children are dressed, fed, and both of them are top 3 pupils in their classes. Straight A's, top to bottom, straight A's. A quarter of them A star. Year in, year out, year in, year out. And on Saturday they go to Polish school. And in Polish school, straight A's, top to bottom. Yeah? They speak, read and write English better than most of their peers in UK. They speak, read and write Polish better than most of their peers in Poland. And all that thanks to my wife, who can stay home with them and make sure that they do. She's got the time to sit down with them and do what needs to be done, because she doesn't have to go to work. She doesn't have to get a job. And I have never in my life claimed a penny in benefits, as some suggest in the comments, that I live out of benefits. F you. F you. I can't call my stock shit because I've got all that thanks to this shitty stock. And before you call my stock shitty, please go and compare your dick size to somebody else, because I'm not interested and my lady is not complaining. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video interesting. If you have, please click that like button on your way out. If you wish to support the channel further, consider subscribing if you haven't done so yet. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. God bless you all and bye bye.